Hey everybody, it's me Stacy here at Scrapbooking Made Simple. Hi everybody, hello. Welcome in. Did y'all have a good holiday so far? It was a night, we had a great Christmas day. We had lots of friends over, but I tell you, the weather here, in fact, right now, the weather is super bad, and I've been getting alerts that we may lose our power, so I'm hoping this is going to be kind of a long class. So I'm hoping we get through it and I get it loaded with plenty of time. But wow, what a week it's been. Rain and rain, but surrounded with friends and family and good food and fun, and I just hope the very same for you this week. Now today's class is a little different than a typical Saturday with Stacy YouTube class, where usually those classes I have specific product and I'm doing a technique and we make something and I have beautiful finished samples at the end. That's not this class. Nope, this is a comprehensive class that if you are a die cutter, thinking about being a die cutter, have the die cutting machine but don't exactly know how to use it with all the different things, you're going to want to watch this class. This is the 2025-2026 do's and don'ts class of the Sizzix Big Shot machine. So Sizzix earlier this year launched a new machine. But is it a new machine? So I have that with me. But right next to it, I have the Sizzix Big Shot machine we know, we love, we've seen it for years and years. And I'm going to be talking to you about the differences between the machines, the what's, the why fors, the how comes, the why nots. And then I have several Sizzix tools in front of me, a squishy and a knock-knock, a crease pad, a precision base plate, a magnetic platform. I have oodles of things in front of me and all sorts of dies, stamps, and stencils over here. Some by Sizzix, some not. Some as low as 25 cents. I went ahead and I pulled items from our warehouse sale, which is going on right now. You're like, wait, what? A warehouse sale? Well, it started December 1st. And if you like 50, 60, 70, 80, 90% off, sometimes more, you're going to go want to look at that warehouse sale. Monday is the last week, week 5. I launched the last manufacturers on Monday. But my gosh, if you want major savings, I don't know, an $11 die from Birch Press for $1. If you want major savings, you're going to want to take a look at the warehouse sale. So I pulled product from different manufacturers so that I can work with all sorts of different things through the Big Shot machine. Doesn't have to be Sizzix to go through the Big Shot machine, but we're going to get to that. First, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Winner Chicken Dinner because I have 3 of you. One of you is our winner from the sneak peek that happened last Friday, not last night, but the Friday before. I always do a sneak peek of the Saturday event, and then you have about 5 days to post your comment, and then we pull winners. So I have one person, and she may already know she's won. I posted it on the sneak peek that I did last night. And then I have 2 winners that have won $100. That's because they posted a comment on this video. So let's just get right to it. Our first winner Chicken Dinner, who's going to receive an assortment of the product from YouTube 636 is Seal Rivera. Hello, Seal. How are you doing? We miss you too. Seal used to be local and then she moved, and we miss you too. Absolutely. Congratulations, my dear. You're going to get an assortment of products from YouTube number 636. You don't have to do anything to claim your prize. We've already got you taken care of. Then our 2 winners who are receiving $100, and what a great time to win $100 when there's a warehouse sale going on. Our first winner is Carol. Carol Toy? I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm going to go with the E is silent. Hey, Carol. Carol posted a comment on last week's YouTube class down below. You would post this week. Down below, there's a place for comments, and that puts you in the running to win a $100 gift card. I also have, oh my gosh, Donna Mael? I'm not sure. I'm going to guess. Donna Mael, is that close? It doesn't matter, Donna. You've won $100 to Scrapbooking Made Simple. Oh my gosh. You and Carol each have $100 in your online account right now to spend any way you want. And Seal is going to get a prize package filled with some of the goodies I used last week. So Seal posted on the YouTube short, the sneak peek, and Carol and Donna posted on the actual YouTube video. So if you want a chance to be a winner next week and see if I call your name, well, you just have to post on the short that I did and then post again here. Why not? You never know when it's going to be your turn. So we have to do the winner chicken dinner dance because that's what we do. And I'm so excited for them. And this YouTube, I'm not doing a gift card. I don't know. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll just stick with the gift card because I'm giving Big Shot machines away on the short. So maybe we'll stick to gift cards here. But okay, winner chicken dinner dance. Let's get started. Are you ready? You're a winner, chicken dinner. You're a winner, chicken dinner. Wahoo, ka-choo, for you. Congratulations to all three of you. As I said, you don't have to do anything to claim your prize. We've got you taken care of. And wow, have fun with your winnings. Now next week we'll have brand new winners to announce, and you want it to be you, so post your comment. That's the only way you have a chance. Under the shorts for the sneak peek for this video, and then on this video. That gives you more than one way to win. Now, the video today, as I said, it's a little different than normal, and I'm known for these videos. If I'm known for anything, it's for my it's for that. my laugh. I'm known for my laugh. I'm known for my do's and don'ts videos, and I'm known for talking a lot. I guess there's worse things than that, right? And my do's and don'ts videos are a comprehensive class. This isn't a demo. This isn't something that is a short. This isn't something I just sail right through. This is something where I take time to show you, because we are talking about Sizzix Big Shot machines. And anytime you are talking about a die cutting machine, especially a 6-inch or larger, you're not talking about a $50 or a $60 item. Typically, you're talking about $130, $140, $200, $250 sometimes. So these are major purchases of a tool that, if you take care of it, will last you 10 years, 15 years. These die cutting machines, specifically the Sizzix Big Shot machines, are workhorses. They really are. They are the first in the industry, the very first company to come out with a die cutting machine. It was red, it was old, you pushed down, it was top heavy and awkward, but the first company to come out with a die cutting machine for consumers was Sizzix. It was. And so Sizzix has always been in the forefront of that kind of what they call technology. A die cutting machine is a type of technology. So this year they've released a new die cutting machine, but is it really new? There's the question. And so I have both machines in front of me. I have the one that I've been using for years and years. Well, I actually brought out a new one because I wanted you to be able to see apples to apples. And I have the new one that they've just launched. I think it's really important to tell you a few things before we get started. One, I am not paid to do this video. There's no money coming my way. There's no affiliate links. There's no, quid pro quo, nothing, which means I get to say anything and everything I want. And these are my opinions, and this is my YouTube channel. So a manufacturer cannot buy a YouTube. They cannot buy an endorsement. They cannot buy. I may be a licensed designer for Sizzix. Yes, that's true. But that doesn't mean that I'm a spokesperson for Sizzix. It means I design pretty things and they manufacture them and put them out for sale. So this video isn't sponsored by anybody. Also, I think it's important that you know to keep things, I don't want to say fair, so that you know that I am doing this and giving you the most honest and accurate opinion that I can. We are not selling the machines. I don't have either machine on our site to sell. You can't buy them from me. I don't want to show you the machines and then say, and by the way, they're at scrapbookingmadesimple.com. That would be potentially, you might see that as being bias. So the machines are not for sale at Scrapbooking Made Simple. You will have to visit, ideally, a local independent store. Yes, you're going to pay more at a local independent store. Yes, Amazon's going to be cheaper. Absolutely. Yes, other online stores are going to be cheaper. But if you have a local independent store that you can walk into and literally talk to somebody who probably knows your name, have them open the box for you, have them show you, then spend the extra money and give them your business, because you cannot give me your business on this video. That way, again, I have no motivation to do anything but tell the truth, because I can't influence you to buy it from me. I don't have it for sale. Now, I've pulled lots of product from the warehouse sale, and all of this product that I'm showing you from the warehouse sale has been in the warehouse sale. It was either launched week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. I do not have any product that will be launched week 5. That is on Monday. So this product is already heavily discounted and has been out there on our website for quite some time. And I leave it up to you if you want to buy a memory box die for $11, that's now down to $1. Or if you want to buy, Find It trading die that's $22.99 down to $4.99. That you can find at Scrapbooking Made Simple. But the machines, you cannot. And so I can give you my most honest and truthful opinion. I can also show you how to use this machine with all different types of tools and all different types of manufacturers. If that is something that you are interested in, this is the class for you. I'm not known for a lot of things. I'm not like a crafty, there was somebody who did a video, I forget who it was, and they were talking about being kind of a crafty celebrity. And that's not me. I'm just a store owner. I own an independent retail store here in Canyon Country, California, on Soledad Canyon Road in the Taco Bell Plaza. That's who I am. But I am a technique junkie. That's who I am too. And I probably know as much about these machines as anybody who works at Sizzix or Ellison. I would venture to say I know more about these machines than people who work at Ellison. I have been using a Sizzix Big Shot machine forever, and so I am very familiar with what it can and what it can't do. Now, because we have the two machines, I thought it was only fair to do a side-by-side video. And I think that's the right thing to do, a side-by-side video. I may pick one of the machines to roll most of the stuff through, but I think it's notable and reasonable for you to see what is the difference between the older machine and the newer machine, because there is subtle differences, and those subtle differences may make all the difference in the world for you. Does that sound dramatic? Oh yes, it does. But is it dramatic? Yes, it is. Can it make your experience with the machine elevated or disappointing? It might. So pointing out these subtle differences will give you the opportunity to make an informed decision should you want to purchase a machine somewhere else before you plunk down that $150 or $130 or $198, whatever it is. If you get a bundle somewhere, it might be more than that. So I'm going to walk you through them. All I can say from me at Scrapbooking Made Simple is that we hope you take advantage of the warehouse sale and you go through all of the items. There's thousands of items starting at 25 cents, and that will support me. But if you want to purchase one of these machines, you support another independent store. So I'm going to get started for today. It's going to be a class. You may want to take notes. You may want to jot this YouTube number down. Or I'm going to put my pause face on so that you can go and get a piece of paper and a pencil if you want. And that way I don't have my eyes aren't half closed and I look like, you know, what medication did she take? Did she take some NyQuil before she started? So here's my pause face. Go grab a pencil, piece of paper. See, I'm on pause. Okay, you're back. So let's get started for today. And I'm gonna do my best. I'm my own camera person, so I'm gonna do my best to zoom up and zoom down and try and keep everything in focus. But be ready to really get a better understanding of what it is these two machines have to offer and why you may prefer one over the other. In my most honest and unbiased opinion. Again, Sizzix does not know, Ellison does not know what I'm going to say. They will not know until they watch this video right along with you. Hey everybody at Ellison, hi! All right, so let's tilt down for today and let's start with the older Sizzix machine. And when I say older, I mean the one that I use all the time that we're used to seeing. So I'm gonna bring it over. It is new out of the box. Look at the tags are even still on it. It does come with a few things. It comes with a solo shim, or I don't know if they're calling this an A shim now, or we call it a solo shim. That's what I used to call it. For thin dies, I call it a solo shim or an A shim. It's going to come with a base platform. It's going to come with 2 clear cutting plates. And it's going to come with directions. Now, your base may be a different color than this, but it will come with a base. The original base platforms look like this. It's the same platform. It just has a different sticker on top of it. The original A shim or solo shim look like this. You may get yours and it still might look like this. I don't know. Maybe they've all changed to black. I'm not 100% sure. But regardless of which machine you get, you will end up with a base platform, a solo shim, and 2 clear cutting pads. Now the cutting pads are out of stock. I don't know that they're planning on having these back until February, March. I think they're out of stock for quite some time. So if you need them and you want them, I'm hoping that you're able to find them. So every machine comes with the machine, the plates, the platforms that you need. Do you technically need to buy anything else to make this machine work? No, you don't. You can use just what comes with it and you'll be able to die cut and use embossing folders. However, there's tools that I'm going to show you throughout today's class that will elevate this machine to do something more than it was previously expected. So, the machine comes with a handle. And it also comes with this little bag. It has an Allen wrench. It has a little cover for where you put the handle in. It comes with your little screw. And the handle slips right on in. And then you screw it in, and then you put a little cap over the top of it. And you never lose the Allen wrench. You tape it to the bottom of your machine, you do something, because over time, the handle will loosen up and you'll need to go in and Allen wrench it back down. And this is the original machine. It has a 6-inch base, kind of has a little trough here. It's a little bit longer and a little bit more narrow than the newer machine. And I think one of the key points to this machine that is different than the newer machine is that it has an actual handle. Now, I know that might not seem like much, but it has a handle to it so that you can slip your hand underneath and lift it up. For a lot of people, this handle makes the difference. This is one of those little minute details, one of those little things that's different between the old machine and the new machine is an actual handle. The width between the new machine, the old machine, both do 6-inch wide dies. They both have the same roller. The internal guts of the machines are the same. It is the exterior outlook and the handle, well, the handle here, you're rolling, and then your handle here to lift. That makes the difference. I don't want to put this handle in yet. I will, because I'm going to show it next to the handle that comes with the new machine. So this one sits a little bit lower to the ground. It's a little bit longer and a little bit more narrow than the new machine. Let's swap out. The new machine has what I would call a Apple-esque, inspired by maybe Apple products. It has a very clean, a very streamlined look to it. It stands a little taller. It is a little wider, but it's a little shorter than the other Big Shot machines. So not quite as long, a little bit wider, and a little bit taller. While my original Big Shot machine comes with little feet, these little feet that will hold it. They're not suction, they're just little rubber feet that kind of help it stay in place on your table. This machine, the feet are built in. So that's a big difference. The feet on the original Big Shot machine can tend to pop off. The little felt, well, actually, I might be able to, ta-da! So they can pop off, and then you gotta find it and you gotta put it back in. So to change that on the new machine, they built the feet right on in. So the rubber pads are right onto the mold of the machine. Now you can see something different here as well. The handle is stored underneath. Is there a reason for the handle to be stored underneath? I think it's convenient if you're ever going to travel with your machine, but the reason they changed the handle, and they did make a huge change to the handle, is they have eliminated the need for the Allen wrench and the screw. No longer do you need an Allen wrench and a screw. You just pop it in and it clicks into place. You want it out, you push the button and it slides right out. You want it back in, you pop it in and it clicks into place. You want it out and you slide it out. Now, I would like to think that this was a novel concept and an improvement. It is an improvement to the machine. But the reason why they made this improvement is because with the original machine, one of the biggest hang-ups with it is that the handle gets loose. You're constantly having to tighten it up. They give you this little plasticky little cap. Let's see if I can get it out. They give you this little plasticky little cap here that fits into the void. Come on. So the handle has, the little opening right here. So you don't want to see that screw. They give you this little plastic piece that will fit right in to cover it up. That tends to fall out and get lost. So one of the biggest hang-ups with the original machine is that the handle constantly getting loose, constantly having to be tightened, and the little piece here falling out, along with the feet, losing the feet. Those are the two things that they improved with the new machine. Without question, absolute improvement. The thing that I struggle with, well, and you know what? I'm going to take the handles just while we're talking about them. Before I move on, I'm going to take the two handles and put them side by side. So you can see the difference between the two handles. One of them is substantially bigger. It is, but it isn't. So it has a look of being, this is to the new machine, it has the look of being more solid because the handle's not tapered. It feels a little longer. This one feels a little longer in your hand. It feels a little bit easier, I would say, to grasp because it feels a little longer. It also doesn't have the tapered bar. This one has a tapered element to it. So the metal gets thinner as it goes down, while this one is just a straight solid piece. I'm not sure if that makes a whole lot of difference or not. They both feel about the same weight. And I guess perhaps this one might just look a little hardier, but I can tell you it is a little bit longer than the original, and that the handle itself, at least because it doesn't taper down, looks a little bit longer, and in your hand it feels pretty good. I mean, this one's not bad, but I think this one might feel a little bit better. And you no longer have to worry about the screws and having to tighten it up every so often. This one just clicks right on in and away you go. So the handles are a big difference between the two of them. What else is a big difference is the fact that this machine does not have a handle per se. So if you're going to lift it, it has a little indent on both sides. And when I say a little indent, I mean a little indent. You have to almost like deadlift it. You've got to be able to get your fingers underneath there and then lift up. It's got a wide base, so I want to say that this is probably 2 inches maybe. And anybody who has smaller hands or has arthritis may find this to be a challenge. Whereas the existing machine, which is still available, has the handle that you can slip your hand right underneath, even if you've got arthritis or smaller hands, slip your hand right underneath and you're able to lift up, as opposed to trying to grab from underneath. You can absolutely lift it like this, but lifting it like this and walking like that's a little awkward. You also can put your hand underneath it, totally underneath it, and lift it this way. That's a little bit easier than lifting it like this. this does feel like you are lifting dead weight. And you do have to get your fingers underneath there, and your hand needs to be wide enough to be able to do that. And you need to have enough strength to be able to pick it up. Is the machine heavy? No, I actually think this machine may be a few ounces lighter than the original, but having a built-in handle versus doing this, I mean, lots of people store their plates in here, and they're not going, now you can't, you'd have to pick it up like this, which is fine, absolutely. I mean, there's many ways to pick something up, but not having that built-in handle does make a difference for some people. They've also built different channels in this machine so that when you send your plates through, you're going to have less opportunity for it to, have you ever had your plate like come so close to the side that you have this fine little piece of plastic in a corkscrew, just this little piece of plastic is shaved off? Or like me, my Solo has gone through where it's bent because I got so close to the edges. Here, you're gonna have a little bit more opportunity to not have that happen. But you have to know you're picking it up. So the differences between them really is more an aesthetic look than something that is inside the machine. The guts of the machines really are very, very comparable. They're the same mechanism. Let's put this one on and let's go ahead and screw it in. Same mechanism, but you may find that this handle is important to you. You may find that this is easier for you to use, that this is easier for you to use. You may find that this being slightly lower and a little bit longer and a little bit more narrow. So I'm going to screw that in, and then we'll put them side by side so you can see them. Now, I don't know that anybody's done anything side by side before. And like I said, this is my YouTube channel. I don't ask permission. I do I do me, and other people do them. And a manufacturer cannot pay for a YouTube. There's no endorsement fees, and I think not selling the machine means that I don't have a vested interest one way or the other in which machine you prefer. There's no weighted opinion here. It's just me telling you what I see and what I feel. Okay, so I've got it tightened up. And mind you, it doesn't come loose very easily. It's not like every time you're using it, you have to tighten it. The older your machine gets, the more you will have to tighten it. I might not have to tighten this one here for 6 months. It very well could be 6 months before I have to tighten it. And I put that little piece in, and this machine is ready to go. I am just used to having the handle, and that it makes it easier for me. But I do like that this machine, the new one, is just a little bit shorter. So let me move up. Oh, nope, that's down. So I've got them about the same place in the back, and you can see that the new machine is a little bit shorter. It's a little bit wider, but a little bit shorter. So if you've got a little bit of a limiting craft space, the shorter, that extra inch and a half may make all the difference to you. I don't know. I can't tell you. It just depends upon whether you like to be able to lift the machine this way with a real handle, or you want to try and lift it this way, kind of getting your fingers in underneath there, or maybe lifting it with your hand going below it. It's up to you. It will also make a difference if you want your handle to pop off. And I don't know I know the reason they did it. The reason they did it was to get rid of the screws so that the handle wouldn't loosen up. I don't know the long-term wear on this yet because it hasn't been out long-term. This may never have a problem, or in 5 years it may be that I don't know. I don't know how long they tested it. I have no idea. But it's a Sizzix product, so you know they're not going to come out with anything before it's what they deem exceptional quality. You just have to decide between the two. The rollers inside the machine are the same. The gears, the guts are the same. It is an aesthetic thing on which one you like better, and whether you mind, I guess it's, do you mind tightening your handle, or your handle here so you can have a handle here, or do you mind lifting like this so you can have a handle here? I think that those, and then the length difference and the width. I think that those are the really big key factors between them. The feet, sure, the feet are nice that they're built in. Yes, it's nice, but I really don't lose my feet very often, but it can happen. Now they do still have both machines available, so it really is up to you what you like best. Now, let's start with the old one. We'll see. Well, no, we'll start with the new one. What the heck? I'm going to start with some die cutting, and we're going to keep it pretty simple because I'm going to start with something called a steel rule die. STEEL, second word, rule, RULE, die. These dies are not made very often anymore. In fact, Eileen Hull is really the only Sizzix designer who still makes steel rule dies. These are thick dies. They have a blade formed into them. So let me pull them out. First, let me tell you, this one's $14.99 down to $3. And this one is $19.99 down to 25 cents. You do the math. So let me get them open so we can play. All right, let me cut it open so we can play. Because it's in there pretty good. Does that help? Yes. All right, one die out. And let's get this one out. So steel rule were the first dies that Sizzix ever made. There was no such thing as a wafer die or a chemically etched die. They started with steel rule dies because Sizzix Ellison is actually called Ellison Education, and they started in schools, having their dies in the PTA room and the faculty room and the art room. So these two dies, Tim Holtz did lots of steel rule dies back in the day. These two dies are thick, super thick, and they have foam over the top. So foam over the top. They have an actual blade of the design that follows the design on the top, which means if you press hard enough into this, that blade is sharp. That blade is sharp. So these dies tend to be more simple in their design because there is somebody literally taking that blade, that metal, and bending it by hand to the exact shape that this needs to be. That is labor intensive. So these dies are not made as often as they used to because the labor charge on them is so much money. AccuCut used to have dies like this. Spellbinders had some dies like this, but Sizzix was really known for them, and most of them were called Bigs, B-I-G-Z, Bigs, the Bigs dies. But in the beginning there were yellow ones were mediums, and green ones were small, and red ones were large, way back when I still had dark hair. Now, why are these different from what is out on the market today? Well, they do more in some regard. Because it has that blade built in, these will cut through multiple layers of paper. They'll cut through acetate, they'll cut through fabric, they'll cut through foam, they'll cut through leather, they'll cut through flashing. There's a blade in there unlike a chemically etched die or a wafer die, which we will get into, that just has this little edge to it, not a blade at all. So let's cut and let's see what we get. Let's grab some paper. So I've got some Sizzix reveals. We're not gonna sand it, but we're gonna cut it. And let's see what we can do. So 1, 2, 3, 4. How many sheets do you think we should try? 5. Think we should go for 6? We can. The worst thing that happens is it doesn't cut. 6. So I've grabbed 6 sheets of cardstock. And this is my Sizzix Reveals, which means it sands to a lighter color. I did get 6 sheets, didn't I? 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, there it is, hiding behind the blue. Come out, yellow. There you go. So 6 sheets. I'm going to cut them down to about the size of the die. I should have probably brought bigger scissors for this job. That look good? I'm going to go for it and say yes. So we're used to wafer dies, which at most will cut 2 sheets of cardstock. All right. And while my machine comes with a base platform and a solo shim, I don't need those for this die. And you're asking why? Well, my die is going to be the same thickness as having my base platform and my solo shim. I don't need it. I don't need it to make it any taller. If I do, it's not going to go through the machine. Even if I take away the solo shim, it's not going to go through the machine because my die is already the height of that base platform. So all I need to make it work are my cutting pads. Now, I typically like to have a couple different cutting pads. Two come with your machine, but I like to have something that is a little different. These are my old ruby red Scrapbooking Made Simple cutting pads that Sizzix did years ago. And I like to always have something that is either a colored cutting pad or a glittered cutting pad, and I use that as my do not cut cutting pad. In fact, years ago, do I have a red pin up here? Years ago, I used to, before they had gold glitter and silver glitter, I used to write on it, do not cut, because we only had clears. Why do I use what's called a do not cut pad? Well, every time you cut into one of your cutting pads, it leaves a little outline of the die, because there's a blade. Leaves a little outline, and every time it leaves a little outline, slowly but surely over time your pads will start to kind of warp. So to mitigate that, you flip them back and forward and back and forward, and maybe you move your dies all over so that the little cuts in it are kind of spaced out. But also, if you have a do not cut plate as your top plate that you try to never cut into, this pad never warps. And it allows you to kind of sail through a little bit easier, to have one pad that is absolutely not warped. So I can put my do not cut pad down, and you can choose to cut up or cut down. It's really your decision. We'll see if I get it all done with I think 6 sheets. Put my cut pad over the top. So now my do not cut pad is my bottom pad, and it's just going to help it sail through a little easier because it's going to lay flat. Okay, let's see what we get. Ooh, I hear it cutting. Do you hear it cutting? And I can bring it back. Now in both machines, if you put your hand underneath it, it's almost like there's this little handhold. And I use that little handhold to help push things forward. All right, let's see what we get. You can see it's left that little cut into my plate, and that's what's supposed to happen. We get people who call us all the time. They've started to die cut, and then they get that cut in their plate, and they're like, oh my gosh, I've ruined it. No, this is something that you're going to use and use and use until it cracks in half and you have to get a new one. These are what they call a consumable. It will take you time to use it so that you have to get a new one, but in time you will have to replace it. Now my cut, or my do not cut pad, doesn't have that little indent in it. I'm trying to keep this as straight as possible. Well, I've got lots of little cuts right there. And, well, lots of little cuts right here. It cut through them all. No problem. Everything is cut. And then you can take and cut off the bow and put this bow on top of this one. And I mean, you can then mix and match, cut them into bits and pieces and layer them on top to give them different looks. But 6 pieces of paper without any problem. I might have been able to go to 8 pieces of paper, and this is 80-pound cardstock. Let's see if we take our other machine, and let's grab the other die. So our other machine, same thing. Here's my do not cut, and here's my cut pad. Now again, the nice thing about having a do not cut and a cut pad is when this cut pad is all used up and you need to throw it away, then your do not cut pad becomes your cut pad, and you buy another for a do not cut. And then when this pad can't be used anymore, this becomes your new cut pad, and so you're saving yourself on the pads. You're not going through them as fast as you would. All right, this one's got snowflakes. And I don't think that this paper's not going to be white enough. So we'll cut again. And we'll run it through. So cardstock, construction paper, fabric, leather, foam, plastic, lace. What do you have? And maybe we add two more pieces to go from 6 to 8, just to see what we get. It might be too much. At some point, I will have used too much paper and it won't die cut all the way through. But a steel rule die, which is what we're using, is something that gives you the most opportunity to cut heavier, thicker materials. All right. So this time I'll cut down and I'll put my paper here and I'll put my die. Hopefully I've got all of it covered. Yep. And my do not cut plate on the top. You can choose to cut up or down, and then my little hand, my hand goes right under here. There's a little place for it, and my palm is what's going to help me move this along just to get in there. Well, might be too much. My 8 sheets I might be at the point of too much. Yep, too much. My machine does not want to go. It's saying, no, Stacy. So you're not going to force it. Let's pull out a sheet. See, it's thinking about it. It wants to, but you never want to force a die through. Not ever. If your machine says, no, 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 then stop and redo your sandwich. Pull out of sheet. Oh, 7 pieces. I think 7 pieces will get through. Tight, tight, tight. Oh, and then we can bring it back if we want. But you hear it making all that noise. Noise is good. Noise means it's die cutting. See, not quite on that 6th. So I'm thinking maybe 6 sheets might be our max. Oh, but look at how pretty is that? I've got all of these snowflakes coming out. So I'm thinking maybe 6 sheets is our max on 80-pound cardstock. And just imagine being able to do this with the kids, quick and easy. You get a lot of bang for one roll. And then you can use the leftovers as masks or stencils. And it was close, it just wasn't quite enough. Just not quite enough pressure. So I say you stick with 6 sheets, but everything came out beautiful. And it didn't matter which machine I used. Steel rule dies. What else will they cut? They will cut chipboard. So I've got chipboard. You can use your, I think I can get through 3 pieces of chipboard maybe. We'll try. You can use your cereal boxes, packing material, I don't know, 3 might be, this is pretty thick. But let's try and push it through the other machine, the newer machine. Now again, it's a little hard for me to lift. I'm right-handed and I'm having to lift with my left hand because my machines always are on my left-hand side. And maybe this time we cut up. Do we want to do the little pack? Well, let's do the snowflakes and see what happens. Maybe this time we cut up so my do not cut plate is there. And once we do this, we're going to move on. And I put my hand right underneath and I get a little bit of give, get a little push, a little oomph, and then let it go and send it back. I think 3 might have been too many. I don't know, it's close. Two came out easy peasy. Actually, all 3 of 1. That one came out with all 3. It's the one that's a little bit more detailed. I've got at least 2. It's this last one that might need some finagling, but I don't think it's going to come. I don't think it's going to come out. So steel rule dies, definitely more difficult to find these days. Tends to be more expensive because they're more labor intensive. You don't need to use any of the additional little platforms that your machines come with. And if you are doing something, I mean, felt, just about anything you can cut with this. They really are useful that way. So we have lots of steel rule dies as part of the warehouse sale. And the 2 that I played with today, one's $14.99 down to $3 and one's down to 25 cents. Can't go wrong for that. Now let's move along into something called chemically etched dies or wafer dies. CED dies, chemically etched dies is what they're known as. And they are the most common dies in the industry today. So let me zoom back. Oh, wait, no. Okay, come back. Let me zoom back. Chemically etched dies, the most common dies manufactured today. There was a company who manufactured chemically etched dies here in the United States, and they have since closed. I would not expect any manufacturer to be able to make chemically etched dies in the United States affordable for the crafting community. There is a process to make chemically etched dies. I've been to the factories. I've seen how it's done. I've been to China to literally watch how chemically etched dies are made. I've been to several factories, and the process is time consuming and involves chemicals. So the EPA, I'm positive, would have something to say about chemically etched dies here in the United States. Now, is that to say that chemically etched dies are not actually manufactured here? I'm sure that there are companies that make perhaps parts for airlines and jets and tools and things like that, where they use this process, this chemically etched process, to manufacture that piece that they need to make something bigger. I'm also positive they would not be able to sell that piece of whatever for $14.99. There are things, there are standards and requirements here we have in the United States that are not global. Not everybody has the same requirements for cleanly water and things of that nature. So if a company were to try to manufacture a chemically etched die here in the United States, by the time they added all the costs for all the things that they have to do to be in compliance for what we have as an acceptable standard here in the United States, that die would be $100, $200, $300? Yes. So chemically etched dies, I don't see being manufactured here in the US anytime soon at a price where a paper crafting store can say, here, look it, isn't this cute? You need this. Not when it's $100. It's hard. So chemically etched dies are wafer dies, and lots of companies manufacture them. Memory Box, Sizzix, Spellbinders, Lawn Fawn, Creative Expressions, you name, almost anybody who manufactures dies today does it with a chemically etched die. And they are thin. They're hence the name wafer die, because they're wafer thin. And they do not contain a blade. They contain a little ridge that goes all the way around the cut edge where you want the die to cut. And pushing it through your Big Shot machine will put enough pressure for this little edge, which kid friendly, you can't cut yourself, this little edge will cut through paper. But how much paper? Well, you don't have a blade like we did with our steel rule dies, so 4, 5, 6 sheets out of the question. Typically 2 at most. It can cut fun foam. Yes, it can cut some felts. Yes, it can cut some fabrics. Yes, but definitely not as hardy of a die as a steel rule. But then with steel rule dies, you get very simple shapes. You can't get into the detail and the very intricate. Can't do that with a steel rule die. You can only do that with a chemically etched die. So there's trade-offs. And this, while made in China, is cheaper to manufacture. Therefore, the prices are more economical to us in the paper crafting industry. Now, sometimes you say, well, I don't know, Stacy, a $39.99 die isn't so economical. Well, that's true. Sometimes the dies get very expensive. $30, $40 for a die isn't inexpensive. You have to love what you buy and buy what you love. That's why the warehouse sale is so great, because you can go through and you can get this $11 die for $1. So chemically etched dies are not thick. Thin. That's a big difference between that and our steel rule. Huge difference. Look at that. Holy smokes, artichokes. It would take, I don't know, 10 of these, 15 of these to equal the same thickness as a steel rule die. That is why the platforms came to be. The platforms were manufactured so that it made your chemically etched die as thick as a steel rule die so it could go through your machine. That's why the platforms were manufactured. Now, in the beginning, way back when, and it's still available, platforms were manufactured with a hinge. And you would have tab 2, and it tells you what tab 2 can do. Tab 2 can do chemically etched dies, wafer dies, thinlets, framelets. Then you have tab 1, you would open it, and tab 1 tells you what it can do. It can do embossing folders, 2D embossing folders. I think that says 2D. No, this one says 3D. It can do the squishy and the knock-knock. It tells you right there what it can do, and then your base platform. Now, these are still available at Sizzix to buy. You can still get a multi-purpose platform that has the hinges, but they elevated it. so that you didn't have the hinges, because the hinges broke a lot. I remember one time we got in a bunch of these platforms, and by the time we went through them, 50% of them had broken hinges somewhere because it's plastic. So they modified it, and instead of having tab 2 and tab 1 and the base platform, now they just have the base platform and the solo shim. And this is all you need to make almost everything that is out there on the market go through the Big Shot machine. And again, they've given you directions on what you can use this solo or this platform for. So you can do a 2D embossing folder, and it shows you how to do a 2D embossing folder. A 3D embossing folder, and it shows you the sandwich for a 3D embossing folder. A squishy and knock knock. Is that what this is? I want to make sure. Yes, they call it an emboss and transfer set. It's really a squishy and a knock knock, and they should just change the name. I've been calling it a squishy and knock knock for years and years and years. So this will tell you how to do that. Then it has the solo shim, which allows you to do wafer dies. So instead of having 3, like you did in the hinge, now you're down to 2. When you're doing a chemically etched die, it's the 2 of them together. When you're not, when you're doing an embossing folder or you're using a squishy and a knock knock, you don't need this. And no matter what you do, you're always going to sandwich it in between 2 plates until we get to a 3D embossing folder. So I've got my die from Memory Box. It's a cute little Santa. I can grab, let's see. I can grab a piece of red paper for his hat. And I can grab a piece of white paper for the little pom-pom. Actually, I think I'm just going to cut the whole thing in white, and then I'll cut his hat and his face. So I'm just going to grab my paper. And I've got my base platform. I've got my solo shim. I've got my cut plate, what I'm going to cut into, my white paper, and my die. And then my do not cut plate, and I'm going to send it through one of my machines. So here, for me, it's easier to lift it this way. Stuck my hand right underneath. This is harder for me. This is easier for me. This doesn't feel like a deadlift. Slide it in, put my fingers underneath. Just gives me a little handhold, and then I can push with my palm to send it on its way. And bing, bang, boom. Did I go all the way? Yes. Bing, bang, boom. All my little pieces are cut. Okay, now I need to cut him out of, I need to cut a little red for his hat. So I can do his hat, and I need to do his face, and I think I'm just going to grab some ivory. his face, his hat, put it down, and I'm going to cut both colors at the same time. And bing, bang, boom. Now I've got his face, and I've got his hat. And then I can go in to build him. So his little, that goes there, and that goes there, and his little pom-pom would go here, and his little mustache here, and before you know it, I'm building a little Santa. And just super easy to do. In fact, maybe that goes like that, and that goes like that. There we go. And that goes like that. And I'm just building my Santa. It's quick, it's easy. Use a little bit of adhesive. I've got some sticky dots. Sticky dots are a Scrapbooking Made Simple product. There's hundreds of thousands of micro dots on here. So I can take my hat, and now my hat is gonna go to here. And then my little fur gonna go to there. I think maybe this one needs to come over. Maybe I put it too low. And my little mustache. And this is using glue without using glue. So these hundreds of thousands of little micro dots just cling onto the back. And allow you to make your finished. That still doesn't look quite right. So no wet glue needed. And you've cut a chemically etched die. And we started to make our little Santa. Isn't he cute for $1? Put candy sticks through, you know, tie him onto candy sticks, make little tags out of him. He's just darling for $1. Easy peasy mac and cheesy. And it was all done using a chemically etched die. No blades at all. No blades at all. But the benefit of a chemically etched die is that they can become intricate. You can get them, because of the manufacturing process, you're able to get something that's a little bit more intricate. Very fine in detail. I've got Happy Birthday here from Creative Expressions. Bring my machine back over. Grab a piece of paper. And again, this is a simple die. So I've got my base platform, my solo shim, my cut plate, my paper, my die, my do not cut plate, and we send it on through. Grab towards the bottom and just kind of push in. Now the thing about the machine, regardless of which machine you use, once the rollers have got it, you can't pull this out. You have to turn the handle to get it out. So once it grabs, I don't have to push anymore. See, because that's not going to come out. I have to, once it's in, I can't get it out. You got to turn it to make it go. You just need to get it in far enough with your little hand to get it started. And then bing, bang, boom. I've got a happy birthday sentiment. All die cut out. Very easy, very simple. Get all the little fallouts, the little pieces that you poke out. Those are called fallouts, well, because they fall out. Definitely sticky there. So I can put my happy birthday down, give a good press. Pull up. And then put it on my paper. And while it's repositionable for a little while, once it dries permanent. And I can just make a cute little sentiment for a card, a layout, again, a little tag, whatever it is you're doing. These are simple and easy, and they're all done with a chemically etched die. So there's my happy birthday. So let's get into something a little bit more intricate. A little more intricate? Or should we stamp? Maybe we'll stamp first. So there are sets out there that are they have a stamp and a coordinating die. So stamp and coordinating die, which means you can stamp all the detail and then die cut it out. or die cut it out and then stamp all the detail. Up to you, whichever's easiest. So let's play. So this is a $15.99 set for $3.20 from Marianne Designs. And I think maybe I will stamp first. So let's get my stamp off my liner. Now, once it's off the liner, it's never hard to get it off again. It's just that first time, and then it's easy peasy. So we'll grab some paper. And let's see what's going to be easiest. I've got a squish, a gush pad. I've got a clear acrylic block. So any of your cling stamps go straight to a clear acrylic block, easy peasy. Stamp it in the blue. And with any stamp, you might want to stamp off a few times. So the first few stamps, you may want to just do a couple of them just to get off any residue that's on the stamp from glue or being on that liner. It's getting there. So Wafer dies became known for having stamps and dies to coordinate. That really became a very, very big thing in the paper crafting world. Huge thing, as a matter of fact, because it had never been done before, where you could have both of them coordinate so you get the detail from the stamp and the shape from the die. So let's see how we do. So 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. I've got my image. Then I take my die and I line it up. Let's take the older machine this time. Again, a little bit easier for me because it has the handle. I'm going to need my platforms, both of my platforms, and my cut plate. And I put my stamp down. I line it up with my die, put my do not cut plate on top, and I send it through. And I've got a cute little birdhouse. So they're very, very easy to do. But as they became more intricate, it became a little more difficult to line up. And the more warped your plate is, the little more difficult it is to line up. So Sizzix came out with a tool. It is called a magnetic platform. This is the same thickness as your solo shim and your base. These two are those two together equals this entire thing. Now there's magnets in here, and the magnets are, maybe I can get a glare on this. The magnets are little dots running across. Can you see those little dots running? They run all the way across, and they're spaced maybe an inch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this tool was made to help align your stamp and your die so it wouldn't move. You didn't fidget anywhere. So let's cut another one real quick. Oops. Stamp another. And the magnetic platform was wildly popular when they first came out. I mean, everybody had to have it because coordinating stamps and dies were so prevalent, and still are. They're still very, very, very popular. But do you have to have it to make it work? No, I just showed you that I was able to make it work without the magnetic platform. And in fact, if you use a little piece of tape, you can tape your die down and your paper down so it doesn't wiggle either. The magnetic platform is a luxury item. It retails for over $60. That is not where it started. It started around $24.99, $29.99. It is now over $60 retail. So when you get your machine, if you get your machine, do you need to have this? You have to make that decision, because it is nice to have. It is a tool. You'll use it forever and ever. But is it something that is necessary the minute you get your machine? That's up to you. I can't tell you. But the difference is that versus that. Now again, if I took a little bit of maker's tape or some washi tape, I could certainly tape this down so it will stay in place. But without it, it can move. But if I put it on my magnetic platform, it doesn't move. The one thing with a magnetic platform is that if you have a pacemaker, you need to be very mindful of this. This is something you don't want to hold up against your chest next to your magnetic or to your pacemaker. It does have warning labels on it about pacemakers. And for some, that might be just a little bit easier. It's nice. It's convenient. It's not absolutely necessary. But having dies with stamps has been a thing for quite some time. It's just up to you what is the easiest way to die cut it. Some people will not do a stamp and die without their magnetic platform. I tend to be a fly-by-the-seat kind of girl, mainly because I'm using white paper most of the time. So I just kind of go for it and hope it comes close. So I'm going to sub out that magnetic platform and bring back in what comes with my machine. And then we're going to move on. Both machines have comparable pressure. Super cute. And done. With or without a magnetic platform. The nice thing about the magnetic platform is that it just makes it easy. One of the not so nice things about the magnetic platform is that the dies tend to, smaller dies will tend to move towards the magnets. So because it's not a full sheet of magnet, the smaller dies will kind of move to them. So you have to learn to work with your magnetic platform. I do not believe they have these in stock right now. I know Sizzix is sold out of them. So if you want one, there's, I'm sure, many manufacturers who have them, or many retailers who have them available. But it is not necessary to have it when you're starting out. It isn't. You can certainly, you saw me do it on the older machine, on a new machine, it's going to work just fine. All right, let's move on. So intricate dies. Let's see, what do I have that's kind of intricate? This one. Oh, let's do this one first. This one's not really intricate, but it'll be a good explanation. Okay, so Tonic Studios. It's got a frame die and it's got a decor, what I call a decor die. So the center die is where all the detail is. All the detail is in this center die. Yum, right? Then the outer die is a die all unto itself. So let's cut both of them. Let me move some of this over there and I can get rid of this and I can move these there. So let's cut, because I've got red sitting right here. I've got my base platform, I've got my solo shim, I've got my cut plate, I've got my first die that has cuts around everything in the middle, but there's no ridge right here, it's just flat. So what's it going to do? It's going to cut into the paper and leave this design, but it's not going to cut out of the paper. Nope, it is not. So my do not cut plate, and let's go. Nice and quiet and easy. Look at it, just all of that just falls right out. And I've got this perfect little die cut. But I also have this great little piece here. Oh, this double stick tape is always so sticky. Well, I didn't want to save the packaging anyway, right? So now I can take this and line this up here. To cut my whole piece out. And again, I'm doing it not using my magnetic platform. I'm just going to just go for it. Now, I've cut the entire thing out. Right? Pretty easy peasy. Or I could just cut my solid out. Maybe I need a cute little square with a decorative edge. I've got that piece. Or, because these are the same edge, I could line this up so that I have that perfect background without my ivory showing anywhere. It fits perfectly because it's the exact same die. Lots of options with chemically etched dies. I could choose, if I wanted to bring over my magnetic platform. And because it's magnetic, I have a little better opportunity to cut them both at the same time. Because I can line them up and they're not going to move, as opposed to cutting one at a time. If I'm not using a magnetic platform, I cut one at a time. I do it just like I did this one. I cut my inside die and then my outside die because I don't want them to move around. But with your magnetic platform, or if you tape it down onto your base, again with some washi tape, Post-it notes will work, anything to just hold them in place, you'll be good. So I don't need this. Don't need my magnetic. I can bring over my regular platforms. And you can see how the platforms interchange between the older machine and the newer machine. So you can use your plates from your older machine if you want one of the new ones. If you have friends over, everything is interchangeable between them. It really was some functionality change to the aesthetics, but it really was kind of trying to modernize the look. Now, I don't know if if everybody is a kind of a Apple inspired look, or whether you like the older machine better, the look of it better. But they're cute and they're easy to do. All right, moving on. Let's find something intricate to play with. Let's try maybe one of these two. Oh no. No. Let's try this one. Let's play with intricate. If we're gonna go intricate, let's just make it a little challenging, shall we? I mean, these are lovely, from Tonic, but no, we're gonna take this one from Sizzix. $39.99 down to $2. This is a hold your breath kind of die. It's beautiful. This is what it makes. Beautiful. But oh my goodness. So this is a newer machine. I just opened it, so we'll see how well it does. But wow, okay. Each of these little lines is supposed to fall out. Yeah, supposed to fall out. All of those little lines in there. I don't know if I can get it to zoom. Can you see all of those lines are supposed to fall out? Now, this is a newer machine, so we might find ourselves lucky. But if you've got an older machine, well, the pressure in any machine is going to loosen over time. It just will happen. It won't be 6 months. It might not even be a year. It might not even be 2 years. But over time, the pressure of the machine is going to change based on the usage. And that is where one of the reasons why a precision base plate, while is a luxury item, if you're going to do intricate dies, is a needed item. So let's see what we get. Again, this is a new machine, so it might cut through just fine. But if I brought over, where's my old machine? Oh, there it is. It's down there. If I brought over my old machine that I use in my YouTubes every week, oh no, not gonna happen. Let's see what we get. No. That makes my heart happy. It shouldn't make my heart happy, but it did. Look, it didn't cut anything. Not anything. Is it supposed to die, or is it? I think it's supposed to cut. Well, we're gonna do it again. So it kind of left the ridges in there, but it didn't cut out. Let's try it again. Let's hold on to that, and let's try it again and see if I can get it, if I rotate it, if that will help. Because sometimes you just need to rotate a die. So let's put it through. And then when I get to the other side, I'm gonna rotate it, because every machine, whether it be a brand new Sizzix, the new model, the older model, it doesn't matter whose machine you're playing with, they all have sweet spots. Maybe your sweet spot's over here and mine's in the middle and somebody else's is over here. Your sweet spot could change over time depending on how you use the machine. So I got to the end, and then I'm going to rotate. Rotate, rotate, rotate. And let's see how we did. Still nothing. It wants to cut. Oh, see, it's starting. It wants to. I would, that feels like a cut line to me. All right, still not getting there. Let's try with a precision base plate. So precision base plate is a tool by Sizzix, and if you're going to do anything intricate, it is mandatory. This is a chrome precision base plate. It's meant for intricate dies. It takes the place of your bottom cut plate, so I'm not going to need to use this. And let's see, so my precision base plate. Now the big thing about a precision base plate is if you can read the directions. If you're about to put your paper here and put your die there, and you can read the directions, you've got it wrong. Stop. You need to rotate it. You need to flip it over. You need to see the chrome, or if you're using one of the originals, it had a black top. It was black on the top and not chrome. You need to see that, not the directions. So let's see. I still think those are cut lines. I do. So I'm gonna send it through. I'm gonna rotate it. Just rotate it 90 degrees, and that way, anywhere it didn't hit the sweet spot the first time, rotating it allows the die to hit the roller in a new way, giving it a better opportunity to cut. And do I want to even rotate it one more time just to be safe because I'm worried? Oh, that's better. But I don't know. Maybe those are embossed lines. But it looks like they're cut. To me, it looks like they're cut lines. They are, okay. Not to say that I was right. But holy smokes. Artichokes. Wow. It created fringe. I don't know if I can get it to zoom. It created fringe. So I'm almost afraid to pull these out, but we'll see. Holy smoke. It's a very cool die. Look at it, cut all the little pieces. I don't know if oh, look at that. It's a very cool die, and then these would piece back in. Wow. You need a precision base plate to cut this die. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You want to cut this die? You need that precision base plate to get all of those cut lines out. And then you can just pop out the little ones that haven't fallen out. So you have a clean cut all the way through. Trying to figure out which one it is. that one. Look at how intricate those lines are. That's quite a die. It's darling when it's done. And if you have a precision base plate, you'll have no problem with it. So I need to pull. I'm trying to figure out which is which. And these go fit back in to make the macrame. Holy smokes, artichokes. Well, for $2, it will give you definitely, I think it was $2. It will definitely allow you to practice on an intricate cut die. And then we've got to poke all of these guys out. Okay, I don't have the patience for that. Love you, Sizzix, but I don't have the patience to do that. And then these fit in. I wonder if we can get that piece out. And let's move over. So without the precision base plate, we didn't stand a chance. With the precision base plate, we can get it out. We're just not so sure if we're gonna take the time to do it. Wow. I'm not sure who gave the thumbs up on manufacturing that one, but okay. That was a lot. Nope, not long enough. Let's get a new piece of paper. So intricate dies, precision base plate, yes. So I've got my newer machine. I've got my base platform. I've got my solo shim. I've got my precision base plate. I've got my paper. I've got my die. I've got my do not cut. And send it on through. And then we're moving on. What do you think? I should have rotated it, huh? Oh. Well, that came out really easy, but I don't know if all the fringe came out. I'm gonna just do a quick rotate and send it on through one more time. And we'll see what we get. Oh, easy peasy. Okay, look at that. That's what we like. Easy peasy. Precision base plate. Then we got to get out the remainder. And let's cut maybe we cut this one. From Tonic Studios, $8.50 down to $1.70. And let's see how easy peasy this one cuts. Bring over my new machine, the new body style. Let's take a piece of paper. It's got oodles of little detail in there. I always like to do a rotate 90 degrees just because it hits that roller in a different way. Okay, I want my handle. I think I might want my handle. I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna have to get used to that. And with any luck, we have bing, bang, boom. Oh yeah, look at all the little pieces already falling out. Oh yeah, that's what we like to see. That's a winner, winner chicken dinner right there. Look at all the little pieces just fell right out. That is the benefit of a precision base plate. But this die, of course, I can have two ways. Bring over my machine. Now, you guys aren't going to be lifting and taking your machine and moving your machine nearly as much as I do. It has that little centerpiece. Remember, it came with that little centerpiece. I can put that in the center. Now, I'm not using my magnetic platform because I want you to be able to use the machine without it, but I do need that precision base plate. If I had to choose between a magnetic platform and a precision base plate, it would be a precision base plate, hands down, every day, all day long. I can use some washi tape or Post-it notes to hold things in place. A precision base plate lets you actually die cut. We'll see if that one got cut all the way through. I mean, when you're talking about crazy, intricate dies, Anna Griffin dies, holy smokes, not without a precision base plate. No, sirree, Bob. Okay, what do I do with my first one? I think I put it over there. Where'd I put it? Because now this one has got the center open. Oh, there we go. As opposed to my first one as a solid. And it just came out like butter with a precision base plate. One of the most important tools if you're going to add anything to your Big Shot machine is that precision base plate. It makes very intricate dies possible. And remember, chrome face up or black. Maybe you have an older one. That black has to be face up. If you can read the directions, Stop. You need to turn it over. All right, moving on. So wow, we've done a lot. We're going through each individual item one by one, talking about it, learning about it, deciding if it's something that we need to add to our crafty stash or whether we're okay. Next things next, let's take a die and let's use a knock knock and a squishy. And you're like, a what and a what? Well, when you see them, you will understand how they became a knock knock and a squishy. So, they call this a transfer set, I believe. I think that's what they call it, is a transfer set. They're sold. That's a precision base plate. They're not inexpensive. I want to say it's over $60. It's necessary if you're going to do intricate dies. They're calling this a Embossing transfer set. Sold together. We have them. We have some of the tools. It's the machines that we're not selling. So I have precision base plates on sale, and I have knock knock and squishies on sale. It's an emboss and transfer set is what they're calling it. And in the beginning, way back when, this is a crease pad that we will get to. Way back then, the crease pad, the knock knock, and the squishy were all made in black. So you could, and look at, they're the same flippin' size. You could not tell the difference between a crease pad and impression pad. Same size, same color. The silicone pad was a little bit smaller, but still in black. So years and years ago, because I started on YouTube 15 years ago, I just celebrated my anniversary. They just sent me a happy anniversary thing from YouTube. I renamed them because I couldn't figure out how to tell you what is what. I couldn't figure out, okay, I'm new to teaching. I've never done this before. How am I going to explain these tools so that it's visual? So you can see it, you can understand it, and as opposed to referring to it as a impression pad or a silicone pad or a crease pad, because they were all black, I had to come up with little misnomers for them. But those misnomers have stuck. You can call Sizzix and ask for a squishy and a knock knock, and they are going to know exactly what you are asking for. You don't have to remember it's a silicone pad or a textured impression pad or it's the emboss and transfer kit. No, just ask for a squishy and a knock knock and tell them Stacy said hi. Because after all of these years, even people at Ellison call it a squishy and a knock knock. It just rolls off their tongue. They don't mean to, trust me. It's not their preferred, they're like, but it is what it is. So, years ago, I renamed them because a crease pad is kind of a thud. It's kind of a thud pad. See, it bends, kind of thuds. And a knock knock, now in a white, it was black, but I could do that with the black knock knock and do that with a crease pad, and you clearly understood the difference. And then the silicone pad, which is now gray but used to be black, you could understand. It squishes, it's squishy. So squishy and knock knock. Crease pad we'll get to in a little bit. They used to be sold separately. Now they're sold as a unit. And these are 2 peas in a pod. You generally use them together for basically everything. Every time you want to use it, there's some rare occurrences where you may use the crease pad or the knock knock without the squishy. But for the most part, these are 2 peas in a pod. What do they do? All right, let me show you. So let's get out This is a Find It trading die. Now it looks super intricate, but is it? You're like, Stacy, get out that precision base plate. You're going to need it. Now it's $22.99 down to $4.99. But am I gonna need it? Because when you look at this die and you look up closely, the only cut line on this die is around the edge. Do you see there's no little edges anywhere around all of this beautiful little detail? There's no cut lines at all. So what happens if I cut this? I don't know. Okay, I lied. I do know. I lied. I do know. No, I don't want to put that there. I'll lose it. So let's take this. Ooh, by the hair of a chinny chin chin. But that's all I need is a hair of a chinny chin chin. And let's bring over my machine. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, don't fall too far. And let's cut it. Just like we've been doing. So my base plate, my solo shim, my cut pad, and you can see my cut pad's getting more and more cuts into it. My die. My do not cut pad. And let's send it on through. So just kind of move my hand underneath and sort of push in. And what are we gonna get? Well, you think you're gonna get all of these beautiful fallouts, all these little squigglies all over the curly cues and everything. But that's what you get. You're like, wait, what? Remember, there's no cut edge on any of this pretty little detail. So what's it there for? Well, a few things. One, you can take this die, and now that it's cut, I can leave it in, and I can stencil it. Leave it right in the die. You can take it out if you want and look at it and then put it right back in. We've got these on sale as well. I think they're half off. I think the Couture Creations blending brushes were $5 and they're down to $2.50. And they come with little hats. Look how cute the little hats are to keep them clean. So I can stencil it. If I need to, I can pop it right back on in. And add some more color. Don't know that this is the best color combination I could have chose, but it's what we've got. Oh, it came out. That's okay. I'm going to put it right back on in. kind of pretty. And look at that. Now don't forget it has another die. And I can choose to either die cut that center out, or I can come in, if I hold it in place, because if I die cut, it's going to cut that center out. You know what? I think I should use. Ha 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 ha. My magnetic platform. I'm still moving it. Oh yeah, I'm moving it. I think I'm going to die cut it out. I moved it too much. Clean off my cut plate because it's got ink everywhere. Clean off my die because it's got ink everywhere. But anytime you have a die that has openings with no cut edge around them, they're meant to be stenciled or embossed. And embossed is where we're going to go next. So I'm just going to cut this one out. Line it up, and if I needed, I could either take some maker's tape or I could take a Post-it note as opposed to a magnetic platform, put my die where I want it to be, and then Post-it note it down in place. Oh, but I don't have my cut plate down there. Do now, and because it was Post-it noted, it's staying where it's supposed to be. So one way of using that die. But there's another way, and that involves the squishy and the knock-knock. So let's take, see, and well, now that I've got this out, I could slip it back in because now it's going to slip in and fit. And now I could go in if I wanted to. Oh, wrong one. Because it just clicks right in there. I could go in and stencil it. Look at your dies. What opportunities do you have with them that you're not taking? Pop it out. Am I happy? Or do I want to pop it back in? it kind of clicks back into place. And stencil. Ooh, look at how beautiful is that. That's a bit yummy. And I could pop that up. I mean, lots to be done. Let's clean up my plate. So this is just my cut plate, and I'm just stenciling right on top of it. But now let's use my squishy and my knock knock. So let's grab that. And first things first, we're going to die cut. And you already saw, it's not going to give me all of that beautiful detailed edge. I had to stencil all of that beautiful detail in. So let's bring over, and I'm just die cutting. Easy peasy mac and cheesy. It's not intricate because it's only doing that outside edge. Bam, done. But this is where the squishy and the knock knock come into play. So now I take my solo shim off and I look for what it says. It says transfer. Doesn't say squishy and knock knock. It says emboss and transfer set. So I am going to take and I'm going to put my clear plate down. I'm going to flip this over so it's facing the top. I'm going to take that squishy and put that squishy right over the top. I'm going to take my knock knock and put that right over the top of that. And I'm going to send it through. Now what happens is the pressure from the roller pushing down on that silicone pad is going to make that silicone pad get longer and longer, and the squishy is going to come out the back end. Can you see it growing? It's getting longer and longer. And what it's doing is it's forcing an emboss. It's forcing the paper into those void embossing spaces where we stenciled. So it's pushed the paper in, and you can see it's left embossing. Pull it out, and now I have an embossed detail. But because I used Reveal's paper, I can use some sandpaper, hit my Reveal's paper. So any pattern paper, if you've got double-sided paper, it's going to be white core towards the center. So if you did this, it would sand to white. The only paper this wouldn't work on is a solid core, which would be typical standard cardstock, where if you tear it, it's the same color all the way through. Reveal's paper is not. Coordination's paper has sandable paper. And then what you get is that. And that is so much better than just this plain shape. Let's cut just the plain shape. So to do that, I need to bring back my base shim. I need my cut plate. I need my paper and my die. Now, if you know you're going to be embossing it, it is sometimes easier to cut the die this way. So put your do not cut plate on the bottom, put your die face up, put your paper on, and send it through. And I'll show you why it's easier. Bing, bang, boom. Then all you're doing is taking this piece off and sliding this out. You're not flipping your die over at all. It's already in position, ready to go for your squishy and your knock-knock. And then you send it on through. And the squishy is gonna come out the back end. So you don't see squishy at all right now, but as I roll it through, it starts to show up. And that tells me I'm putting pressure on that silicone pad, forcing that paper into those void spaces on the die. Which then gives me this, which then turns into this. So a squishy and knock-knock are very, very, very useful. Incredibly useful. What if you have a die that doesn't have that embossing feature? Okay, you can do dies that don't have the embossing feature. You'll end up putting, let's see, do I have something? Well, yeah, I can just use this one. So what if I took that and it should cut all, you know, we did it. We cut it all the way out. Where's those? Here they are. But what if I just wanted to use this as an embossing feature? What if I just wanted to use it almost like an embossing folder? Can I do that? Yep, you sure can. Let's take my pretty paper, and instead of die cutting it first, because that would cut it all out, that would give me these, and I'm not looking for those. I don't want to cut it all out. So I'm gonna skip the die cutting and go straight to the embossing. So I'd bring my plates over, I'd put my die face up, I'd put my paper face down, I'd put my squishy and my knock-knock. Or I can put my knock-knock down first, I can put my squishy, I can put my paper, my die, and then my do not cut plate. Always remember, the paper and the squishy have to be next to each other. Paper and the squishy have to be next to each other, whether you're doing it face up or face down. Doesn't make a difference. Here, I want to be sure that I'm centering. I want to be sure that I'm centering. Here, it was still in the die, so I didn't have to worry. So let's do this one. And then maybe we'll do that big one. And then we'll talk about a crease pad. So send it on through. My silicone is going to get longer and longer and longer. Now remember, this die isn't meant to do this. It's meant to die cut something out. But we're just using it a little differently because we have the tools to do that. Oh, it's still got blue on it. Ah, oh well. Okay, well, it has blue on it. So now I have done an embossing of my die. But I didn't take the blue off. So you absolutely can use a die to give an embossed element, even though it's not supposed to. Sure, why not? A squishy and a knock-knock are one of the most inexpensive tools Sizzix sells, and yet it's one of the most underutilized tools Sizzix sells, and yet it is one of the most bang for your buck tools that Sizzix sells. So I have the big one. I'm going to need to die cut it first. I should clear that blue off, or I should clear the blue off, or maybe I'll just do it in the blue. This is a pretty blue. So this one I have to die cut first because I want the whole shape to pull out. Let's bring over my machine. And I need my cut plate. And I need my solo shim. Then I need my cut plate. I'm just die cutting. Then my paper, and I can do it upside down if I want because I'm going to pull the whole die. And then my do not cut plate. All I'm doing is cutting out this die. That's it. And the only thing it's going to give me is that shape. Easy peasy. Cracks and creaks are perfect. It means it's die cutting. That's a wahoo kachoo. Don't be afraid of the little creaks and cracks. So there it is. It's not very pretty. It doesn't have much going on. It's just the shape. But then I pull my solo shim out. Put my squishy, because squishy always goes next to the paper, and my knock-knock. And I send it through. And now I've got that embossed feature that is really going to pop when I sand it. That is an embossing texture, embossing silicone. It's a squishy and a knock-knock. So So I'm going to do half and leave half so you can see the difference. All the beautiful detail, none of the beautiful detail. It's embossed, but you can't see it. All the beautiful detail. Oh. Now look at how pretty that is. And that's what a squishy and a knock knock does. Pretty awesome. Okay, moving on to a crease pad. Crease pads, what were they invented for? So, back in the day, and still with Eileen Hull, I just feel like I've got blue all over my face, but back in the day, and still with some Eileen Hull dies, her scoreboards had score lines, or Tim had dies that had score lines. Bigs, the thick dies, remember the ones we started with? They'd have score lines in them so you could fold. Well, if you used your 2 clear cutting plates and you sent it through, more often than not, those score lines would cut because of the pressure. So they needed to come up with something that would still cut the main part of the dies where you wanted to cut, but where there was a score line, it would just score on that place. And that's where a crease pad came in. A crease pad was meant to be used with Eileen Hull's scoreboard dies or Tim Holtz's dies that have score lines in them. But those dies, because they're steel ruled, are very far and few in between. They're not easily available. They tend to be expensive. A steel rule die, an Eileen Hull steel rule die, an XL die now can be upwards of $50 for the die. I think a large one is now $40, maybe some of them maybe even more than $50, $60. So those thick dies get pricey because somebody has to manually put the blade where it needs to be. So a crease pad came to be to help put score lines in on dies that had a scoreable feature. But since those dies are no longer really relevant to most of us, what are you going to use a crease pad for? We use it to do a kiss cut. What's a kiss cut? Let me show you. Again, a very good tool, very inexpensive, very underutilized. All right, let's pick a die. I'm gonna go with this one. And down we go. I have made such a mess. I don't know that I'm gonna find my way out. And I think I'm gonna swap machines again and bring out the original version. And I've got a Tonic Studio die here. And I'm gonna do a kiss cut. So I need some sort of adhesive. Double-sided adhesive. That's one of the first things. I need adhesive, a double-sided adhesive. Whether it be mine, Elizabeth Crafts, I want to let you know that my adhesive will be back in stock sooner than later, maybe early January. I'm very excited. There's some changes to it, but that's okay. I'm okay with the changes. I'm just glad to be able to say it's coming back. So this is a double-sided tape. It's super strong, super long, and you can tear it. And the minute you tear it off, you need to put it on something. So, if I were to take this and die cut this out, I've now made an instant sticker. I don't have to add adhesive at all. I can die cut this, it'll die cut through the back, and I'll make an instant sticker. Or I can put it on the top and die cut. And now I'm able to add glitter, things like that. I can peel the whole thing off wherever it is and add glitter to the parts that are left behind. But what if you want to be specific about where you put your mega flakes or your glitter? Look at my hands. Oh my gosh. Mega flakes or gilding flakes or glitter or embossing powder, because this is heat resistant tape. You can use embossing powder on it and heat straight on and it's going to be fine. What if you want to do that? That's where a kiss cut came in. So let's take some white paper. And let's add some adhesive to it. I'm going to trim off some of the where it's over because I don't want it to stick to my clear plates or my cutting plates. I'm just going to trim this off a little bit. And then I've got my die. And $8.49 down to $3.40. Warehouse sale. Yes, please, warehouse sale. Now, I think I should cut this just so you see it beforehand. I know I'm going to need this one, and I know I'm going to need this one at some point. Okay, so maybe I just cut this real quick so you can see what the die looks like beforehand. So I've got my base plate, my solo shim, my cut plate, my paper, my die, my do not cut. And I send it on through. And I don't think that this is overly intricate. I think it'll cut. Maybe I do a rotate. Oh. Well, I don't need that paper anymore. I can just do a rotate while it's in there and send it back through just to make sure. It's easier to do that than to get frustrated and have to recut and recut. Oh yeah, it looks like it's good. Easy peasy. So that's what the die looks like just on its own. And it does have a center. I'm just going to get all of those out. It does have a center. Oh, this tape is horrible. It's really strong tape. I don't want to say it's horrible. Where I could add the center if I wanted. And cut that too, just so you can see what the die looks like. Now I only have to go as far as the die is. I don't have to go all the way to the end. You only have to go as far as the die is. Oh, that just cut me an open center. And then this little piece, if I want to piece it back in or if I want an open center, up to me. So that's what the die looks like. Now we're going to do it as a kiss cut. So my white paper with my Stacy tape on it. If I peel back my Stacy tape, it's sticky. I have to do something. The minute I take that liner off, I have to do something with it. As long as I let the liner stay there, I can keep this forever and ever and ever and use it anytime I want. No rush. Now, I'm going to put my crease pad down as my bottom plate. Crease pad down as my bottom plate. My paper, my die, and either my do not cut plate or my cut plate. It makes no difference. And I'm going to send it through. And you hear some creaks and cracks. And bring it back. I'm not trying to emboss it. I'm trying to do a kiss cut. So I'm not trying to emboss it. I'm trying to do what's called a kiss cut. So now that I have that, I can go in and with my tweezers, it's cut just through the liner of my tape, not through the back of my paper, just through the liner of my tape. So I can go in and I can pull all the individual pieces I want to pull. I wasn't trying to emboss it and I wasn't trying to die cut it. You need the crease pad to do a kiss cut. Unfortunately, Sizzix doesn't have any crease pads, so you're going to have to find it online if you need one. They'll get them back. Not 100% sure when, if it's going to be February or March, but it's one of the most underutilized tools they have, because you can do this with your gilding flakes, you can do this with glitter, you can do this with embossing powder and heat set. I'm just pulling up all the pieces that I want because I'm going to glitter it in one color. Okay, just about there. All right, so I've peeled off some of those cuts. Not all of them, some of them. Now I take my glitter, and ultra fine or microfine glitter is best. And less is more. And I rub it in. And anywhere I have exposed my sticky, the glitter is going to hold to. You need a crease pad to do this. A squishy and a knock-knock is for embossing. A crease pad is for a kiss cut. And everywhere I've exposed my sticky, I can add a little bit of glitter and it's going to fill it in. Now I can tell you, I missed one of my, I didn't peel up that little sticker right there, that little piece that finishes off that. So I just go right back on in, pull it up, grab some glitter, and bam. Take an inexpensive makeup brush, and we've started. Now I can pull the centers. So all of those little centers. Thankfully, there's not as many centers. And now I can add a totally different color glitter. And it's not going to interfere with the one that I've already put down because I burnished it in with my finger into the sticker. Oh, I didn't do that one. So I didn't do this one here. And then I take my little makeup brush from the dollar store and I get rid of all the excess glitter. Now I take the outer. So now I peel off all the way around everything else. I'm now going to take that whole backing off. And again, I've exposed the sticky, so I've got to do something with it. And anywhere there's sticker, I can feel sticky, I want to make sure I get glitter in there. If you were doing embossing powder, you could do all your embossing powders and then heat them all at once. You could do them in individual colors and then heat them. It really is up to you. Gilding flakes. But then I've got that. Versus what we started with here. A crease pad lets you do a kiss cut with any die, and then you can peel up the individual elements to make it what you want. Can you imagine using gold and silver and copper gilding flakes to do this? How beautiful would that be? Oh. Or doing it, the whole thing in embossing powder and then heat it all at once. Amazing. And then you decide, then you come in and you can just cut it into a square. And then you can take that back piece off. And go in there and add your final color. Burnish it off. And you've made your own embellishment. There's so much to be done with kiss cutting, but it takes that crease pad to make it happen. And you can use any die that you want to do. All right, so we've spent a lot of time on wafer dies. Every die I've used after I did the steel rule dies have been wafer dies, chemically etched dies, dies that are thin and easy to use, but you can only cut so many sheets of paper. We've done it with embossing. We've die cut them, we've die cut and embossed. Gosh, we did intricate. We did fringe, holy smokes artichokes. We did a decor die that cuts in versus cutting out. We've done the stamp and die cut. All of these were done with wafer dies. All of them. But we need to move on. I think the last few things I'm going to play with are embossing folders. Most embossing folders these days are 3D embossing folders. So I do have a couple 3D embossing folders. How about this deal? It's a twofer. You get the Stag 3D embossing folder from Sizzix and Sentiments. $28.99 down to $1 for both. Holy smokes. So 3D embossing folders. Very dimensional, much thicker than normal. They don't bend really easy. This is a Sizzix. I also have, I also have this set. This is an embossing folder, the dies to cut the waves out, and the stencil to do it. Maybe I'll just use this one real quick, just so we can see embossing folders. So this is a Crafter's Companion embossing folder. There is no standardized thickness for embossing folders, and this is actually an embossing folder that has a die that will cut the center out, and it has a coordinating stencil for that center. There is no standardized thickness for embossing folders. Even though both of these are 3D embossing folders, you are going to have to treat them differently. So the Sizzix 3D embossing folder, easy peasy. Put my crease pad back, come over, look at my little chart, and it tells me, oh, I want to do a 3D embossing folder. Okay, or a multi-level. I'm going to use my base platform. I'm going to put my embossing folder with the paper inside, right down on that base platform. It's not going to harm it because it's not cutting anything. And I'm going to put a do not cut plate or a cut plate over the top, and I'm going to send it through. So no solo shim at all. None. And I'm going to send it on through. And now I've got that really deep, deep embossing. And I can sand it to bring out some of the highlights. So really deep, thick embossing. But our Crafter's Companion, also a 3D embossing folder, is nowhere as thick as the Sizzix. That doesn't mean that the embossing isn't as good or isn't going to be as deep. Does not mean that at all, and I don't want you to think that that is what it means, because it is not. They're just made differently. So if I were to do the Crafter's Companion embossing folder, and let's follow Sizzix instructions on there. On their base platform, which tells me base platform, embossing folder, cut plate or do not cut plate, send it on through. I can tell you, this is rolling way too easy. I mean, it's rolling way too easy. There's no tension in this at all. I can tell you, it's not going to do anything. Even though when we used the Sizzix, that was the platform, the sandwich they told us to use. Because there's no standardized thickness for embossing folders, you have to play. See, Sizzix, perfect. Beautifully embossed, heavily embossed. Crafter's Companion, nada. So now that I know that that's not going to work, I have to think about, okay, what's my next step? Do I take my solo shim and put that down and do this and see if that solo shim will be just enough? Ooh, will be just enough to get, oh, is it gonna go? Yeah, just enough to get it to roll. Ooh, I think the solo shim is what it is. Oh yeah, look at that. Now you tell me, that's every bit as deep as a Sizzix embossing folder, and yet it required the solo shim to be added to it. But look at how beautiful, and I didn't even sand it. Wow. So every embossing folder manufacturer is using a different thickness on their embossing folders. There's where chemically etched dies, there's pretty much a standardized, pretty close to a standardized thickness that die needs to be able to go through a die cutting machine and cut. Embossing folders, it's like the wild, wild west out there. So if I do it the way Sizzix tells me for a 3D embossing folder, and I don't use my solo shim, and I put it in the way they say, I'm gonna get nada. But by playing with the sandwich, memory boxes, embossing folders may be different. Who else makes 3D embossing folders? They're all going to be slightly different. You just need to take the time, figure out your sandwich, and then write it down. And beautiful. So embossing folders, kind of the wild, wild west out there. You're gonna have to play with them to see what is the correct sandwich. Now, what if I played with something like a stencil? What if I grabbed a stencil instead of an embossing folder? Can I make a stencil do anything? Sure I can. See, these are Tonic Studio stencils, $15.98 down to $3.20. There's 2 different stencils in there. Sure, I can make a stencil do something. I'm gonna need that squishy and that knock-knock again. So what if I took some, let's take some paper and let's go cut plate, or let's go knock knock. Oh, I'm not gonna need my solo shim. I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna need my solo shim. Let's go knock knock. Let's go squishy. The paper needs to be against there. Paper needs to go against the squishy. And then my do not cut plate or my cut plate. Let's see if I come close. Taking a stencil to it. Squishy's gonna get longer and longer. Let's bring it back and see what I've got. Now it's not going to be deep. It's almost like a slight texture. A slight texture to the paper. Not super deep, but it is sandable. How many stencils do you have? That squishy and knock-knock becomes such an important thing. And because it's not a deep emboss, it's not going to be anything like a 3D emboss. You're not going to be able to cast a shadow off of the embossing. This feels almost flat, so it gives you texture without adding any dimension at all to what you're doing. It's pretty cool, but without that squishy and knock-knock, it's a no can do. Of course, it has 2 sides. So you have to decide I always sand both sides, always. You have to decide which side you like better, because they are different. It's the same paper. I just sanded the other side so you can see the difference. Always sand both sides because you don't know which one you're going to like more. So with stencils, you're back to your squishy and your knock-knock. Incredibly easy to do. With any stencil that you own. Okay, so paper, stencil, cut, do not cut plate, send through. And my squishy's gonna get longer and longer. Oh! Oh, I hope I didn't move my paper. We'll see. Oh no, looks good. And then I can sand. Okay, which one do I, oh, I did move it a little bit, but that's okay. Two different looks, same paper. All done with a squishy and a knock-knock. So these are just some of the things. We started with steel rule dies way back when. We watched them cut and cut and cut, where you can do heavier, thicker materials. We then moved into our chemically etched dies, where we spent the majority of our time just doing all sorts of different things, from super intricate to using them with our double-sided tape and a kiss cut, to stenciling, to embossing with our squishy and our knock-knock, stamping and die cutting. We did it all. Then we moved into embossing folders and stencils. Is this everything the machines will do? No. But this class is already, I bet, 3 hours long. And so I can only do so much. I think I'll come back maybe and do maybe another little class somewhere during the year on some of the more advanced things like letter pressing with this. You have two different machines to choose from. This is the original machine. I like it because it has the handle. That makes things easier for me, but I'm also understanding that my handle here to roll is going to get loose over time, and I'm gonna have to take that Allen wrench and tighten it up. That's the older machine. It's a little bit longer platform, it's a little bit lower, and it's a little bit more narrow, even though the die sizes that go through are exactly the same and the components on the inside are exactly the same. When they are sold out of these machines will no longer be made. They've got enough, I'm sure, to last a while, but this is being phased out. So if the handle is something that's important to you, that's something I would look at getting sooner rather than later. Or maybe you like the idea of the newer version. It's a little more sleek, it's a little more streamlined. I'm not so, see, I can't lay my things on it. That's one of the things I'm not so crazy about. I can put them in, but see, when I'm working, when I'm teaching, I most often lay these like this, so I can grab them and make it easy as I'm teaching on YouTube. I can't really do that with the newer machine. It's a little shorter, a little less in length, which might be a benefit to you. It has the feet built in. It has the handle, which can come in and out and does not require the little screw and the Allen wrench, making this a little bit easier. It's never going to loosen up, but it does not have a handle. You can pick it up like this. You can pick it up like this, or how they intend you to pick it up. There's just little, there's small little finger holds underneath there, and it's kind of wide. So if you've got a smaller hand or arthritis, anything like that, you're gonna then wanna pick it up this way, which means then you can't necessarily store your items here because you won't be able to get out underneath, so you'd have to pick it up this way. They're both good machines. They both do the job. I understand the more streamlined look. Like I said, I think it was inspired by Apple products. Is it better? Only if it's better for you. If the handle here is important to you, if the smaller footprint is important to you, and you're able to do this, then that's great. But if those things are not something that is important to you, maybe the top handle is important to you. Maybe this takes precedent over whether you have to tighten this handle up. Now, they're not going to have these handles forever, and if it breaks off, I mean, you really have to torque this to break it. You do, but it will loosen up. So you've seen the both of them. You've seen me work with both of them. And again, we are not selling them. You cannot buy it here at Scrapbooking Made Simple. That way, I don't feel like I have given you an unbiased opinion. It's hard when you're selling something. I try to be as unbiased as I possibly can, as honest as I possibly can. But being that we're not going to make anything off of this. This is for an educational purpose only. You know that I've given you my honest, truthful opinion. I didn't sway one over the other. Do I have a favorite? I do have a preference. I do. I do. So, but I will leave that as my preference. Again, not to sway. That way you make your own decision. You have to look at the pros and cons of each. And there are pros and cons of each. Take away the inside, because the inside, the gears and the rollers are the same. It's those little details that I said I said it was so dramatic. Are they important? They are. If you can't lift that new machine up, that's really a problem. If you're tired of getting your Allen wrench out and tightening up your handle after you've had your machine for 3 or 4 years, that could be a problem. You have to weigh. If the smaller footprint, the smaller length is better for you. If the narrower width is better for you. Different machines. So this was meant to be a comprehensive class on the Sizzix Big Shot machines, giving you as much information as I can to where I'm sure some of you feel very overwhelmed, but these classes stay on YouTube forever. And this is my 4th or 5th do's and don'ts. This is what I'm known for. I know these machines like the back of my hand. I do. Just because I've been using them for so long. I know where the sweet spots are on my machine. I know when I'm pushing my machine too far. I know when I can take it a little bit further. And that's just because I use it so frequently. Now we do have the warehouse sale going on. Warehouse sale is going on 50, 60, 70, 80, 90% off and more. I leave it to you. The items that I use, some of the items I used today, I didn't use everything. I've got more over here. Oh my gosh, have I got more. And I really, really wanted to get into these today. Using these as a letter press and embossing. So all of the foil plates, oh my gosh, the foil plates, what we can do with the foil plates. I might just have to have a class just on the foil plates so you can see that you don't have to have a foiling machine to use them. Oh no, you don't. You don't have to have a better press to use them. Oh no, you don't. So, gosh, at 25 cents and 50 cents, I would go through the foiling plates and I'd buy them because there is a reason for them with a die cutting machine. But maybe, like I said, maybe I'll do a class just on that. All right, you guys, it's me, Stacy. Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com. I hope you found something in this class informative. I hope you found something in this class to make you go, oh my gosh, I didn't know, or why haven't I done that in so long? I think I forgot about it. I hope you found the time well worth it, spending it here with me, learning about our craft, our making, what we do that makes our heart happy, and how to get the most out of the machines and the dies and the stencils and the stamps and the embossing folders, how to make them work even more for you. Absolutely. All right, until next time, which will be Monday, where I'll launch week 5 of the warehouse sale. I've got new manufacturers to add. This will be week 5 is the last week. The warehouse sale will completely disappear on January 5th around noon, sunny California time. So get your orders in if you want to save like you've never saved before. And if you find that you are wanting one of the Big Shot machines, well, find a local independent retailer if you can. And if not, find an independent online store. We won't have it, but somebody like us, somebody small, who will appreciate and value the fact that you shopped with them. Yes, they'll value you, I promise. All right, you guys, until Monday, again, it's me, Stacy. Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com with the do's and don'ts of the 2025-2026 Big Shot machine. Until next time, bye everybody.